You're still live on New Day here on TV3. It's time for Big Issue. There are a lot to talk about. The main issue centers around the fight against illegal mining, galamsey as we call it. It's become a topical issue for some time now. We'll also begin the conversation actually from the issues surrounding the suspicious flights that came into the country. Lots of accusations and counter-accusations. We have to try and understand exactly what has happened. There's an official government explanation that has been offered, explaining the circumstances surrounding it. Look, it's a very confusing story for many. I've read comments on social media, people asking questions about what exactly is happening. I mean, the whole story can be traced to 2 aircrafts that came into the country. Now, we are being told from government sources that they both had technical faults. The common thing we can identify about the 2 aircraft is the fact that they all made a stopover to an extent from Angola. And the point being made is that they had to be fixed here in Ghana. And afterwards, they both ended to the same island. Now, the claim by the minority in parliament is that they are linking the presence of the 2 flights in Ghana to some drug trafficking and money laundering. We do not know the evidence backing that claim, but the MP says, well, this should be a matter that should be investigated. President Mahama held the press conference and said that, look, go over to the security agencies and provide the said evidence that you have. The MP now writes to the chairperson of his committee, asking that the Defense and Interior Committee invites the National Security to brief the committee on the matter. In between all of that, the chairman has replied, the chairman of the committee, saying simply that, look, there's going to be a briefing, but first, because you have made the allegation, go over and talk to the security agencies and provide whatever evidence you have to them. When they conclude their investigation, then they are going to come and brief us on it. Has the matter been put to rest by the stance of the committee? That is 1. And 2, by the decision by the government to provide that official explanation that, look, there's no truth in all of these allegations that is being peddled. The simple fact is that those are 2 planes that had to make technical stops in the country and have simply left afterwards, and that's there's nothing untoward that has been done, and there's no basis for any allegations of drug trafficking. So those are matters that we are going to have a conversation to try to understand and ask if maybe there are some further actions that we expect government to take or not. And joining me in the studio to help me with the discussion, I'm joined by Ras Jantua. He's here.
Is that my new name?
Oh, you were dancing to the...
Oh, but the song was nice.
The reggae.
Oh,
the
song was nice.
So, you like reggae, right?
I like music generally.
No, but the way you... a lot of the times...
I like music
because a lot
generally.
of the times the music choices are different.
Yeah.
But your reaction to...
That, the beat was good.
Oh.
It was good for the morning.
Okay.
And you only live once, you see.
Yeah. So that is Kwame Jantua. He is a lawyer. He's also a member of the Convention People's Party. He's also an energy analyst. He is a regular on Friday. He didn't join us last week. It's good to have him.
I was working for Ghana.
Oh, that's good.
The committee that is investigating the VRA spillage. I've been put on that committee, so I was working for Ghana.
How is it going? I mean, the last time you were telling us about what you are discovering about the fact that more than a year, there are still some of those individuals who are living in those makeshift structures that were provided.
Yes. The information we are gathering is very important, very, very important. And the crux of it is to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And what are those things that we need to do to make sure that it doesn't happen again? When you look at the people who have been affected, compensation is a huge thing. And you know, in the budget, the finance minister has put in a compensation package. Yeah. So the work that we're doing would help government be able to see how that compensation package should be distributed. And sometimes it's sad when you see what has happened there. The major question that we should ask ourselves is the fact that should we have a secluded area for flood water? That means quite a lot of areas in that place, the people will have to relocate. Is this something we can do? I'm not saying that is the conclusion we've come to, but from the little we have seen, if this happens again, and it happens much harder than what happened, then it's going to be very disastrous. Now, when you go to countries like Holland, where they are below sea level, they have been able to demarcate flood areas where nobody lives there. And what they've done with those areas is to turn those areas into farmlands. So that when the floods come in, it's only the farmlands that get flooded. But when the water recedes, the farmlands are still there. It is something that we would need to look at. We haven't come to that conclusion yet. But when you look at the kind of devastation, especially in Mepe, it is not easy.
I mean, but has it not taken too long, I mean, for them to still be in those makeshift structures? I mean, makeshifts like it is supposed to be for just a short period.
Well, you know, quite a number of people had to move from where they were to the higher ground. And I think it's taking time to bring them back. But I'm sure government is looking at it. Remember, it has been a transition from one government to another. So the government in power now would have to see the right way to do it so that the people are satisfied. It is wrong to put people in a place where they might not be satisfied. But the community engagement is key. Government can't do it on its own. It has to bring the community in. The community has to be satisfied with what the government will do for them. And hence this committee that one is on to make sure that we can help the people.
How soon can we expect the committee to conclude?
Well, they've given us 1 month.
Okay.
So hopefully by the end of this month, we should conclude, hopefully.
Okay. I mean, we look forward to the recommendations that will come from the committee. Next to Mr. Jansua is Bo Bachman. He is with the Movement of Change, a senior communicator. He's also into economic and financial analyst as well. His team is doing very well. Barcelona, my team as well, the best team on the planet. If you take out Asante Kotoko, Barcelona is the other best team on the planet. You agree with
of course,
Barcelona? You disagree with the Kotoko?
Yeah, it was your dwarfs. Abontia.
Oh, okay. I mean,
and as for Abontia, you see, once you are Cape Coast,
are they still in existence?
You're from Bacano.
It's a very important
existence.
Of course.
Are they playing
the Premier League?
Yeah.
Oh, we asked the question whether they are
so
in existence.
Premier League has said
First division teams, so it's the teams that are competing. But your team is doing well nonetheless.
Yeah, Barcelona. I mean, the boys are good. You know, the boys are good, full of energy and football intelligence. I mean, they are very good. They are very good. And Real Madrid is now a sinking ship. You know.
Next to Ebo is Professor Enoch Opoku-Antwi. He's a governance and policy analyst. Prof, which team do you support?
In Ghana, I used to support the youngsters because they were playing in Koforidua. I am blue, Chelsea, and we won yesterday against Tottenham Hotspur. I was so excited. But if you go to Spain, I'm a Real Madrid fan because I'm Mbappe supporter. So wherever he goes, I support that team. And that boy is on fire.
I hope he joins Barcelona so that you support us.
No, he will not join Barcelona. But put him red.
Oh, yeah. I mean.
You know red?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
This drug that is killing our youth, making them zombies and junkies. I think Parliament should pick this issue up and work on it because we can't allow our youth to go waste like that.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think it's a troubling situation. I was telling someone that this issue of drug abuse, it appears that every now and then something new springs up. Yeah. So there was a period that tramadol came up. There was a period that people were using glue.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, this type of tramadol is also being used. I know the government, they've launched a campaign to try to deal with this situation.
It is wasting our youth. From the universities, from secondary schools, these boys and even ladies are taking them. It's not going to help the future of this country.
Also joining us for the discussion today, I'm sure by now you'd have noticed AB is not around. If he was around, I would have gone straight to him, and I'm sure he would have had a thing or two to tell us about a lot of the things happening. He's not with us. Joining us for our discussion today, Wanda Madilo is a development analyst and also a member of the NDC communications team. Wanda, it's good to see you.
Yeah, thank you, my brother.
You know, you are a legend to a lot of young students. You know that, right?
Oh, by the grace of God.
For those who don't know why I'm saying that, do you care to explain?
Well, I'm sure it's because I was one time president of the National Union of Ghana Students. And so, I mean, by the time you get there, you have a lot of mentees, people you mentor, young people who look up to you and all that. But we've taken it very lightly, I mean, so far.
I mean, back in the days at the university, when you want to do student activism and they're advising you, the names that they threw around, there will be a Madilo in there, one way or the other. And so that is.
But I'm a Manchester City fan. I mean,
your team this year. I also support City in England.
But what team do you support?
Man City and Barcelona. And so I hear they're the best team in the world, Kotoko.
I hear teams like Chelsea, Man U saying, "Oh, Man City this season is bad," and yet you are still struggling to beat us. I mean, we are fourth on the table with all the.
Chelsea jumped yesterday, so we are.
Oh, you finally jumped. You finally jumped.
Let's talk local.
You finally jumped.
We live from you.
You don't support the local team.
No, I don't support.
But how is that possible? Because
are you a white man or
every Ghanaian when growing up at some point.
No, by the time we were growing up, my team I would have supported, died off. Veradeb died off. At a certain point. And then I would have gone for Heart of Lions. They also, so it's not been comfortable dealing locally. But internationally, the team that say Man City is not doing well, even in our worst moments.
I agree with you. I agree with you because every time I look at the table, I'm confused.
Look at Man U on the 13th or 14th on the league, and they too, when Man City is talking, they say, "Oh, this season you are going
we are playing them this weekend, so we'll see what happens."
Yeah, we'll do them too good.
I mean, so that is by way of just warming up into the conversation. It's time to have the conversation proper, and we're going to talk about the 2 suspicious flights. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to let you watch the government response, and I want you to pay close attention to the connection that the minister makes between the 2 aeroplanes and why they stopped in Ghana and where they were headed to, because it's that understanding that will enable us answer the question of whether we are satisfied with the responses that have been provided so far. We think there are still outstanding questions. Let's watch and listen to Phyllis Kwachofosu, the Minister for Government Communication.
The information machine of the new patriotic party has been ratcheted up, and they've taken it a notch higher. This time, Reverend Intim Fodjo, who also doubles as the Member of Parliament for the good people of Asin South, has made very wild claims to the effect that 2 aircrafts which passed through Ghana for various reasons were carrying drugs, and that was the reason why they were here. He also alleged that they were involved in money laundering, and therefore he was calling for investigations. As you may be aware, President Mahama gave him the opportunity to present any evidence or any basis he has for making that claim to the security services, so that together we could look into the matter to ascertain whether there was any truth in it. I can report to you that because he knew he was peddling total falsehoods and lies, he now claims, after being invited to assist with investigations, that he was speaking on behalf of the committee that he was part of, and that the views he expressed were not his personal views. So because of that, he says he's unable to cooperate with the security agencies. I say that he was peddling falsehood because the facts as they exist vary completely from the claims that he made. When he made that claim, he was only seeking to peddle falsehood in a bid to undermine the confidence that the people of Ghana have in this government. The truth is that 2 aircrafts with completely different purposes arrived in Ghana, and their arrival was perfectly legitimate, and they were here for very genuine reasons. The first one is an Antonov flight 12BK with registration number CVK 7037. Now this flight essentially is a cargo plane which arrived on the 12th of March 2025. Now no plane arrives in Ghana without a landing permit. So this plane secured a landing permit with number GAF/TMAO/25/7863. Now the purpose for arriving in Ghana was what we call a technical stop. Essentially, this is a cargo flight that was destined for the European Union market. And European Union regulations dictate that some specific regulatory requirements be met before any plane of that sort can enter the EU. Now, this plane originated from Luanda in Angola. It was loaded with oil drill equipment and lubricant oil, which were contained in jerrycans. It was headed for the EU market. Now, Luanda does not have the certification to carry out the sort of requirements that this plane had to meet before entering the EU market. Now, the specific requirement is a scanning and screening RA3 procedure, which is a requirement to enter the European Union. Luanda doesn't have it. The Swiss cargo facility at the Kotoka International Airport has that certification, and they can do that kind of scanning. Whilst here, it developed an engine blade fault. Its engine blade was damaged, and then it was also detected that there was severe oil leakage, which required immediate attention. For that reason, a replacement aircraft, URCEZ, with registration number CVK 7007, was brought in to evacuate the cargo. The aircraft that was damaged remained here for 13 days. That is between 12 March and 25th March 2025. After it had been inspected by aviation security, officials of the Narcotic Control Commission, officials of National Security and National Intelligence Bureau, no contraband or unlawful commodities were found on the aircraft. Now, the second aircraft in question is a Hawker 800 XP with registration number N823AM. Now, this aircraft is operated by an organization called AirMed International, which is based in Birmingham, Alabama, in the United States of America. It operates as an air ambulance. Now, Air Medical International flights in Ghana are handled by Tropicana Airlines. Now, this plane landed in Ghana on 20th March from Gran Canaria, Las Palmas, Spain, having gone through Luanda in Angola. Now, it was also here for a technical stop, which is refueling and crew rest, which is perfectly legitimate activity. It was cleared to land in Ghana with clearance number GAF TWXR252604 OFAA 0297/25. Now, whilst it was landing in Ghana, it developed a tire burst and some difficulty with its landing gear, and therefore needed to remain here to be serviced. So another aircraft with registration number N864 arrived on 22nd March with tires and flight engineers from Luanda to replace the damaged tires of the aircraft. Now, once this was fixed, it departed the Kotoka International Airport on 25th March. The aircraft was once again inspected by officials of aviation security, officials of national security, officials of the National Intelligence Bureau, and NACOC.
So that's the official position of government with regards to the two aeroplanes. We are being told that, well, I mean, the common thing we see is that the Angola or the Luanda connection, and the fact that they both made technical stops and they both headed to the same island, at least from the allegation that has been made and from the minister's explanation as well. Now, after government put out this explanation, the man at the center of this controversy, the Member of Parliament, Reverend Tim Fojo, provided this response as well. He says, "My attention has been drawn to a rather disingenuous and far-fetched response from government by Kwachio Fosu," and he mentions the handle of the minister. Kwachio Fosu lied when he claimed I've been invited by security agencies and failed to attend upon their invitation. No security or intelligence agency has ever invited me to assist them with any information. I dare Kwachio Fosu to produce a copy of such invitation. I'm still waiting on them to collaborate with me in Parliament to undertake President Mohammed's directive, if the directive was not mere rhetoric. It goes on to say that when I wrote to call for a joint security briefing, which would have afforded the security and intelligence agencies the opportunity to collaborate with me and to share further information with them and to receive their updates on investigations conducted into the specific cases, NDC Parliamentary Caucus and the government blocked the briefing and shielded security and intelligence agencies from accountability and denied them the opportunity to collaborate with me. What are they hiding? Whereas Kwachio Fosu confirmed my claims of the entry and departure of the two suspicious flights as true, the reasons provided by Kwachio Fosu in respect of their purpose of entry are incoherent, questionable, and cannot be taken seriously. The government has since failed to provide responses to the status of the 12 containers filled with gold and currencies confiscated by the National Security on February 9. The government has also failed to provide responses on the status of investigations made into the high-profile cocaine bust totaling some $500 million. In view of the above and the disingenuous response from government spokesperson, they are bent on hiding information and evading accountability. Our country cannot be allowed to suddenly turn into a hub for cocaine and money laundering. They must come again. And so that is the response from the Member of Parliament to the position that has been put out by government. And if you pay close attention, you realize that he makes reference to two operations that the National Security undertook. He does not make the connection directly as to how they relate to it. In fact, in the original news conference in which he made the allegation, he had simply made reference to those two operations and said that National Security needs to update the nation on who are the individuals behind, whether they've arrested anyone, have they arraigned them. Then he now proceeded to zoom in on the suspicious flights. But once again, in responding to the government position, he makes reference to the two again. We don't get a connection that he's making between those two incidents and the suspicious flights. And I want to start a conversation with Professor Enokopo-Kwentri on this particular subject matter. And Prof, how do you process all we are learning, the allegations from the Member of Parliament and also the response from government and the subsequent response from the Member of Parliament?
Okay, thank you very much. I think that anytime there is this allegation, when you make a claim, you should have an evidence to support that claim. But we are seeing from different angles, Reverend Timfordjo saying that Ofosu Kwakye is lying. And then we also hear Ofosu Kwakye saying that Reverend Timfordjo is lying. When individuals are accused of lying, there's always the truth. And where is the truth? Herod have asked that question from time immemorial. We have to look for the truth. But I'm going to start from the angle of leadership. You see, leadership is more than a photo op. And what it means is that, remember, people who have no life will always try to start drama in yours. So where is the truth? There has been allegation of 2 flights that has been aired already, so I'm not going to go there because of time. And then the time that they spent here, they are being accused that they went to an island where Las Palmas, you know that island, that is where these flights are coming from. Now, the facts as shown by Ofosu Kwakye is saying that it's rather coming from the Air Med flight is coming from Alabama in US, but not in Las Palmas where they talked about. We are also being told that investigation is ongoing. And then we are being told that there's a technical issue that made these 2 flights landed in Ghana. So if there are cocaines and money laundering, of course, investigation is ongoing. We have to look for that. I like what the president said, and I'm going to read it so that everybody will understand. The president said, my attention has been drawn to allegations made and a press conference by an honorable member of parliament, Reverend Timfordjo, regarding 2 suspicious flights arriving at the Kotoka International Airport, suspected to be involved in drug trafficking and money laundering. Government takes all allegations seriously, and to ensure a thorough and transparent investigation, I have directed all relevant investigative agencies, including the Narcotics Control Commission, the police, CID, the National Investigation Bureau, and the National Security Coordinator to immediately and fully collaborate with the Honorable Member of Parliament so he provides all necessary information to investigate the allegations and take all actions necessary to expose any drug dealing. We will maintain zero tolerance for using Ghana as a transit or final destination for drugs or drug trafficking. The NIB made a high-profile bust of drugs, and the value was about 350 million. So I like what the president has said. He has charged all the agencies involved in drug trafficking and money laundering that they should collaborate with this minister, the member of parliament, to investigate this issue and get to the bottom of it. I think that the demeanor of the member of parliament will not help the situation. The president has opened his arm, asked all the security agencies to work with you, and he's using social media, you know, to talk about the issues. I think that that will not solve the problem we have. If we have drug trafficking issues, and anytime there are new government, that happens, you know, people will try to test the pulse of the government. They will try to see the loopholes because it's a transition. You are new in government. They will try to find their way to deal with some of these things. And the good news is that they've been busted, which is good news. So it is not something that ran under the carpet and we couldn't catch it. It's been caught. So it means the security agencies are doing their work well. They did not hide it. They busted. They tested the efficiency of it. They gave us the value, the street value of these drugs, which is good. Now we have to get to the bottom of it. Who were trafficking those? Where were they trafficking them to? Who allowed them to do that? And once the investigation is ongoing and the president is fully committed to the logical conclusion of it, I think that we should wait and see what happens. But the banter of this person is lying, the other person is lying in social media, and the traditional media is not going to help. We should provide the evidence so that the security agencies will solve the issue for us.
I mean, Ebo, so far, have you heard anything that gives you reason to believe that there is a cause for concern that Ghana is possibly being used as a drug trafficking destination or venue or route of sort? Have you heard anything that leads you to that even suspicion, if I'm to put it that way?
Let me say good morning to you, to my colleagues here, and to our viewers.
Good morning.
Must we be running after allegations, wild allegations, without evidence or without anything to prove or substantiate the allegation? I'm beginning to think that the MPP is trying very hard to use the same playbook they used prior to 2016. Make wild allegations, throw it out there, let it make the government look bad, and probably you can make a political capital out of it. That is what I see. Because if Reverend Ntim Fodjo, who is the ranking member of Defense and Interior, if you've gathered any information at all in respect of the kind of allegations he made, certainly there are avenues he could have used as a parliamentarian and also as a ranking member to, as it were, to ascertain the veracity of even the allegations he made. But he just threw things out there. Of course, it was political. The first time I heard him speak on this issue, he was on a show with Wanda.
Yeah.
And I think even when he had a press conference, he was more refined, because on the show, it was a pure allegation, wild allegations, without any proof, without anything to substantiate. Yes, so, and that's what makes it more serious. You see, my thinking is that the MPP should look at its strategy very well, because if your arrowhead in this particular issue, who happens to be a reverend minister, makes some of these allegations and he doesn't have evidence to back them, then what do you think others will look when they also make similar allegations? Because if a reverend minister cannot substantiate whatever he's saying and is dancing around the issue like the way he's doing it, it's quite unfortunate. But you see, what is happening in MPP, I've been saying this. Back in the day, whenever MPP leaders spoke, back in the day, in fact, you could almost reach out and touch the substance of whatever argument they make. Papa Usankuma, listen to Papa Usankuma, go to the records. The Venerable G.H. Mensah himself. I mean, even recent past, Oseche Mensah. But it looks as if the current crop of leaders MPP is having in Parliament, even outside Parliament, are not reflecting the kind of leadership MPP has known to have. And it is hurting the party, if they care to know, because you can't be throwing out some of these wild allegations that have the potential to destroy the reputation of the country without backing it. Now, you are accusing an airline, you are accusing a country security agencies, you are accusing the whole country of becoming a hub for money laundering and drug trafficking. I mean, some of these things have potential consequences for the country. And so, if you are occupying such positions, you would want to be careful in respect of the things you will say, you will put out there. And I see it's going to come out more because that is their strategy. And that is why I'm saying that the same playbook they employed in prior to 2016 is what they are using now. And NDC must be very careful because more wild allegations are going to come out. And I'm telling you, they are not going to have anything to back them. Because listen to, I mean, let's recall, if you could recall, the allegations about the president having a hotels or in Dubai, or the allegations of the president taking bribe in, the Airbus scandal, allegation, all those allegations.
The Ford scandal.
Check all of them. They couldn't substantiate, even when they were in government, they couldn't substantiate them. Yet they made all those wild allegations in opposition. And that is what they are doing now. And so, but you shouldn't be encouraging such things. You see, I've said that, so are we saying that and I want to say this, so are we saying in the most unlikely event that the NDC fails, NPP should be alternative? When we know that just about 4 years ago, they destroyed this country, this country's economy. Look at corruption issues that are coming up. Look at what they did to Galamsey. Are we saying that once you go into opposition, all that you need to do is to destroy, is to pray that this government fails so that I will be considered? It's about time Ghanaians you began to think through some of these things too, so that the politician will not have the impression that I easily become, or I readily become alternative if this one fails. And that is the danger we need to, if you like, we need to stop. Other than that, it's going to affect this country in a negative way.
Mr. Jantua, I mean, you share his concern that this seems like a wild allegation that has been thrown out there to make political capital.
Good morning to our viewers.
Good morning.
I would call it immaturity on the part of the Honorable MP. Let me confirm what Felix Ovuzukwachi said on the second ambulance flight. Now, I have information from my sources here, and let me read to you the information I have, which sits with what Felix said, and I quote, and this is from AirMid. On March 20th, 2025, AirMid International Aircraft N823AM departed the United States for a scheduled international patient transport. As part of the planned flight path, the aircraft made multiple stops for fuel, including a stop at Kotoka International Airport in Ghana. Upon landing in Ghana, the aircraft experienced a maintenance issue. 2 blown tires that required replacement. No patient was on board at the time. To address the mechanical issue, a second aircraft was dispatched with the necessary replacement parts, supplies, and 2 maintenance technicians. Over the next several days, repairs to aircraft N823AM were completed, and it returned to the US on March 25th, following standard protocols and the required rest period for the flight crew. On its return flight, N823AM made a planned fuel stop at Gran Canary Airport. This is from AirMid.
I mean, very consistent with the facts that the
minister put out. So let me come to our Honorable MP. He's a ranking member, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
If you suspect anything, where do you go first? you go to your fellow ranking member because you're on the committee, and the committee would somehow be involved because you are a ranking member of that committee, and inform the ranking member that you have come across information that can be detrimental to this country. If you don't go to the ranking member, you go to the Speaker of the House to tell the Speaker of the House, this is the information I have received with evidence. You just don't go and say something and leave it there. Did he do it? No. Let me ask, parliamentarians, do they have access to Flagstaff House? Do they have access to the president? Yes, they do. So being an MP, you could have gone to Flagstaff House, demanded to see the president because of the challenge that you have seen. Did he do it? All three things I'm mentioning, did he do it? No. He didn't do it. He rather preferred to do what? To play to the gallery through social media. With situations that are so grave for a country, that can put the country in a certain light. Is it social media you go to? If you are not playing politics. Huh? Is it social media you go to? That's why I'm saying it was immature. Now, let's come to the ambulances, the flights that came. I even wasn't aware of the first cargo plane that Felix Ofosu-Kwakye was talking about. Yeah. Let's come to the ambulances. Who gives them a permit? Let's take it for granted that there were drugs and money laundering in the flight. Who gives them the permit to land? Isn't it, I don't know the civil aviation, but it's the airport authority. When they give the permission to land, do they not ask, what is your mission? Once they land, who pays for the space? When you go to airport to park your car to pick your friends and your relatives up, do you not park? Do you not pay for it? Who? Who paid for that space? Are you telling me that the Honorable Minister couldn't have gone through all this to ascertain for himself first, before even coming on social media? Was it done? And for me, what gets to me is the fact that he is a ranking member. And let me ask the question. Is this the first time Kotoka would be used as a transit point for drugs? Is it the first time? No. West Africa as a whole is seen to be a transit point for drugs. It is known. Google, it will tell you. It is known that West Africa is a transit point. And it is something that we need to attack and do something about it. Now, the Honorable, what do you call it? Intim Fodjo. You know, can we say he has spread false information? And you see, this is where in this country we've got to get serious and got to make sure our laws work. Criminal Offences Act, Criminal Offences Act 29, Section 208, and this is what it says. Section 208 of this fact deals with the publication of false news with intent to cause fear and alarm. What he said, did it cause fear and alarm? All of us sitting here, haven't we indicated that the linkage, and really, I didn't see the link with the aircrafts and the cocaine that was busted in Takoradi. And if anybody is going to bring drugs into this country, why would they land in Accra when there's an airport in Takoradi? Why? So to transport it by road, they are stupid, that they know that on the road there could be security people following it or stopping them. Is that what he's telling us? Now, he is spreading, so far as I can see, false information. And what the law says is that Section 208 of the Act deals with the publication of false news with intent to cause fear and alarm. He's caused fear and alarm. If found guilty, the publisher can be jailed for up to 3 years. It's a misdemeanor. And if the laws of this country work, and the investigation shows there's no connection between the two, Should we not enforce the law? Should we not? Will we enforce the law? So, I hope we will. I hope we will. For it to be a deterrent for anybody who doesn't have evidence to throw something into the public. Because you see, it's not only Ghana. The whole world. He put on social media, the whole world has got to hear. And what will they say? Ah, Ghana is a transit point for drugs. Ghana is a transit point for money laundering. It has happened. See what has happened. I'm saying the way people will say it. Yeah. I'm saying the way people will say it. The MPP themselves should sanction him if the investigation shows that it wasn't right. And the president was specific in that the security services should deal with who? The MP. He didn't say the committee. So he cannot now shift to the committee. That's the immaturity I'm talking about. And MPs, people in authority, should be very mindful how they put information out there. Because it's this enclave called Ghana we are trying to protect. Anybody bringing investment in here gets to hear this news and does not get the nitty-gritties of the facts. We say, Ghana is a cocaine country. They launder money. I ain't going there with my money. It has repercussions for us. So let's be mindful. It's the same way sitting on this platform. You just can't come and sit on this platform and say anything you want to say. Because people are watching us. People, look, I met somebody yesterday. I had to go and do my niece's identification card. And a lady came to sit next to me. And I didn't know where she was coming from. And she was smiling at me. Oh, why is she smiling at me? You know what she said? Oh, are you Mr. Janto? I said, yes. Oh, we watch you. My husband is sitting out there. He says I should tell you he watches you. I said, oh, really? That's good. Oh, we watch you. I said, where are you from? Netherlands. We watch you in the Netherlands on YouTube and Facebook. Goes to show. We are not just looking at Ghana. We are looking at the world. So anything we do, we've got to be very careful. At least, if for nothing at all, the president has acted immediately. He hasn't left it for speculation. And he has directed where it should go. Let's see whether in Team Fojo, who is a reverend, who believes in the Bible, who believes in the truth of the Bible, will meet the team. Thank you.
I mean, let me come to Wanda now. And Wanda, I mean, earlier you had made a point that you were on a platform with him where he made the allegation the first time. Yeah. We've seen him subsequently address a news conference, a government response, and his subsequent response as well. I mean, do you find any reason to believe that, I mean, if we have to go by what Mr. Jantua says, that he's a reverend, that the reverend could be pointing us to something that maybe we are too much in a hurry to dismiss?
A very good morning to your viewers, and we need to respect our viewers. And what I will say now, it's complete. In fact, for you to know that he made this allegation whilst I was on air with him. I don't want to mention the network, but I was on air with him when he made this wild claim. And my response in the studio at the time was not to dismiss what he was saying, but at least to understand the psychic behind what he was trying to do. And it's obvious that the MPP is in a mess. And some of these things are the only things they can hold on to. And if you look at the template from Afenyo Markins and how he's become very rowdy, excuse me, how he's become so loud, you know, sometimes for virtually nothing, you will understand the position of the MPP now in the scheme of things. He made these allegations. I think I asked him whether he was sure about it. I asked him whether he had reported this to any of the security agencies, and if he was a member of the Defense Council, why he's bringing this on air without any verification. And it seemed as though he was talking as a person at the time. But when push came to shoves and he was put to go and answer for himself, he said he was speaking on behalf of the committee, which is the Defense Committee in Parliament. I think that is very insulting to Ghanaians. These allegations are baseless, they are frivolous, they are reckless, and to think that a reverend of his stature, and one of the requirements of being a bishop or a deacon is that the Bible says that you must be of an honest report, full of the Spirit and of integrity. Three categories, 3 levels of requirement to become a deacon. And he seemed to have failed woefully in our eyes by this rendition of facts and trying to throw tantrums. And I'm going to take you through a few things that have happened at the Kotoka International Airport. And these were not public issues because it's routine that an airport of this nature, our airport has a 3,400 meters runway. And for airport of 3,400 meters, you are able to accommodate even bigger aircraft. We also have a hangar, and a hangar is where aircrafts are repaired. If you remember when the Terminal 3 was put together, in fact, even before the Terminal 3 came, President John Evanson Tamos at the time and John Dramani Mahama built a hangar, and the hangar was very close to the end where Burma Camp is, the flyover into. And what does the hangar do? The hangar is a place where aircraft are repaired for emergency services, repair works, maintenance works, and all that. Just like you have at the port, we have a dry dock where ships come in, they dock, they are able to be repaired, they get welded and all that, and then they continue their journey. Also, Ghana has also become the hub for West Africa refueling. There are many aircraft that fly into Ghana not because they are coming to do business in this country. They come to refuel. And Blue Ocean, you see around where Lufthansa offices, there's a whole depot of fuel there. That's what they come to do. They come and refuel and they go. Some come for emergency services, some come for maintenance services and all that. Not necessarily coming to do business in Ghana.
KLM.
Yeah, KLM. I'm a Lufthansa. I always had Lufthansa in my mind. So there are a series of things that have happened over the period. In fact, on September 29, 2022, British Airways A380 made a technical stop at Kotoka International Airport. What is a technical stop? To check a few things. Maybe you are flying at a certain altitude, you are not getting enough, engine power and all that. You don't want to take risks because there are a lot of people on board the flight. So what you do is the nearest airport that has those services, you land and you get technical support and you can proceed. On October 5th, 2010, Lufthansa officials of the airport told us that 2 aircraft, Turkish Airlines, Lufthansa, on our own tarmac, had a slight body crash on their wings. Lufthansa was stationed and loading. No, it was Lufthansa and Turkish Airlines. They brushed off each other Lufthansa with the wings.
Still on.
Oh no, that's 2010, not now. 2010. Lufthansa is left for Brussels, Brussels now. Yeah. So their wings, crashed each other. Lufthansa couldn't fly that night. They had to bring a replacement aircraft to evacuate the people. So these are things that happen at the airport very, very, often and all that. Now, also on September 22, 2024, there was an incident of smoking luggage. Whilst the check-in guys were doing their check-in, they discovered that a luggage was smoking all over the place. People had to be evacuated. The owner of the luggage was handed over to the National Bureau of Investigations and all that. Then on June 5th, 2000, Ghana Airlink Fokker F227 from Tamale to Accra also crashed. 6 people were killed. Did you hear about that? Because these are normal, operations at the airport, normal accidents on the tarmac. Sometimes, we'd never get to hear of. The only one we heard of was when is this Tabo, let me not mention any aircraft. Some Nigerian aircraft, cargo airline, crashed into the walls, ran through airwork and all that. That was the one we heard about. But many things happen at the airport where, the fire service is called into action to come and quench fire, to prepare for landing, and many accidents happen on the air tarmac. Nobody knows. So in the airline industry, we also have what we call the air medicals or air ambulance. What is air ambulance or air medical? For air medical aircraft, the aircraft is fitted just like a hospital. So you can get all the services. For instance, if you're evacuating, say, a high-ranking government official or a president, from one country to the other, and you are on board, they can give you all the full range of services, just like we have in the ambulance. The paramedics stay with you. So most of those aircraft are in areas where there are a lot of frequent aircraft and smaller aircraft. And why? Why Angola? Angola is one of the countries that produce large oil quantities for the world. And so there are a lot of smaller aircraft that are on their ridge, or what is it, ridge, or the barge on the seas and all that. So they tend to have a lot of problems with maintenance issues, a lot of problems with accidents, a lot of problems with flight technical issues and all that. That they need the nearest airport that is fitted with that facility to go and take care of them. So if you observe, all the aircraft were either en route Angola or from Angola, all the way to Spain. Why is Angola, what language do they speak? They speak Portuguese. So they are virtually, right, am I right? Mm-hmm. Angola speaks Portuguese. And so majority of aircrafts or, experts that work in Angola, and I have been to Angola before, are Spanish and Portuguese people. So every time they have aircraft going in and out, there are oil ridges, there are oil batches and badges and all that. And you have people going in and out. And they always do that in Ghana because Ghana seems to be the closest to them to Europe and all that. And we also have the standard that is required to meet the European standard when you are flying to Europe. Because we have Swiss port here in Ghana. We have, is it Aviance? The other one is Aviance. We have Menzies. We have a few others that, control luggage, security, health surcharge, and all that stuff. So indeed, Ghana seems to be what's the name? What's the way we call it? There's a way they call it. Ghana seems to be the gateway to West Africa when it comes to aviation. And that's why we invested so much in our airport system. You hear people all the time say, oh, Ghana's airport is so nice, so beautiful. It has the international standard. Now, we actually took advantage of the opportunities within the South region to elevate our airport to that status. Okay. As to whether Ntim Fojo is right or wrong, I can tell you on authority that he is just peddling falsehood. And I'm so disappointed because I don't know what his church members will be thinking by now. And I don't know if he's going to stand in the pulpit again to preach to the same people who want answers and he cannot provide. I mean, to be a good citizen, one of the trademarks to be a good citizen, and they said it to us before they left government, see something, say something. What has he been saying? Who has he been speaking to? Does he seek a solution to the problem? Or is just the rabble-rousing, just the noise and all that?
I mean, Wanda, I want to start the second part of the conversation with you on what the government response has been. And to the extent that parts of his allegations in terms of the specific flights, said there are 2 flights. He says, well, they could be traced to Angola. I mean, the minister confirms that. He says one is an air medivac. The minister confirms that. He says that, well, afterwards they both headed to the island. I mean, should that not at least lead the government to want to allow an investigation to take place as against wanting him to come and substantiate his allegation? And I'm asking this because a lot of the time when we've talked about whistleblowing and all those things, there are instances where the source of the information may not have the evidence to back it. But with the might of the state apparatus, an independent investigation could unearth something that we may not have paid attention to.
No, let me be very factual with you. It is not as though there are no investigations going on. Felix Ofusukwache doesn't work at the airport. For him to be reporting verbatim what has happened, the route of the aircraft, with the aircraft numbers, the ownership of those aircraft, their destination, and even their departure route and all that, should tell you that some work has already gone on. And it's so embarrassing. I sit here and I'm able to track, say, Lufthansa from Ghana, say from Europe to US. And you can just do it on the click of the phone. You just need to type the aircraft number and you're gone. You find out the route. You will know exactly where that aircraft is right now, even in the air. So this is a very easy stuff to find out. You can actually go back and type that aircraft number in the app, and the app will tell you that it was in Ghana on so and so day, departed on so and so day, is now in a certain location and all that. These are not things you can hide. Number 2, Ghana is not a destination for drugs. This is something we need to understand. They may use African countries as transit points, but we are not the end users. If you look at the way the drug community or barons work, we are not the end point. So indeed, even if you pass Ghana, God forbid that you pass our test, you will still have other, countries to battle with. Especially to be told that he's going to Europe. It's not a joke. This is not some airport in some corner of Ghana that, in fact, to get clearance to land here, you need international support, you need international clearance. It's not only about Ghana. So indeed, investigations have gone on, still ongoing, and all we needed for him was to show up at the appropriate body investigating it and give the facts. What is more beautiful than this, than a member of parliament who should hold this country dear to his heart and to his constituents, the people of Asin South, he has disappointed them. And these are not elements that we should be entertaining in our August House called Parliament. Because it's supposed to be a distinguished house, house of records, house of honorable members of this country. And for you to downgrade it to this level, I am so disappointed and scandalized by his commentary.
I mean, secondly,
and also his positioning.
I mean, secondly, on the point about the committee, I mean, the request he makes to the chairman of the committee that let's have the security agencies come and brief us. The chairman says, well, you've made the allegations. The security agencies have been asked to engage you. Go, let them engage you. When you are done, they'll come and brief all of us.
Yeah, I said that on the show when he mentioned it. I said, have you spoken? You are a member of the defense committee. Have you at least even passed this through your defense committee, at least in parliament? For nothing, just in parliament. Because if he had done that, then this information would have been owned by the committee. But he decided to go on in a low ranger kind of fight. He decided to do his own thing. Why should the committee take responsibility for your own failings? Why should the committee be used as a conduit to peddle falsehood? In any case, the committee, as we speak, does not have any of these facts. I see him write one statement that way, asking that the minister should come in. Since when did ministers come to parliament by press releases? Since when? They are invited by the speaker. You write to your committee, and the committee tables it to the clerk tables it to speaker. Speaker okays it, and then it's put on the schedule for the day, and the minister is alerted that on so and so day you will have to be in parliament, and these are the questions to answer. In fact, the questions are even given to the minister ahead of time to prepare answers and come and give to them. Unfortunately, he has been a deputy minister before. I don't think he has learned so much in that August House. He's been a deputy minister of education. His minister at the time has come to the floor of parliament several times to answer questions. Is that how the modus operandi has been with coming to parliament to come and answer questions? So you just get up, say anything in your bedroom, then you overnight expect that some committee should take responsibility for your recklessness. I think it's embarrassing, to say the least, that a whole former deputy minister, an MP for that matter, should get this low. I don't think that this is the kind of politics that Nyansi wants from the MPP in opposition.
I mean, Mr. Jantua, same question in terms of the responses from the committee chairman and also from the president. I mean, it suggests to an extent that they are more or less like you lawyers say, once he's alleged, he should come and provide a proof.
The burden of
proof. Against the possibility that maybe we can just simply want to check independent investigation. He's just maybe blown the whistle. We should just go and check.
Who made the accusation?
He did. I mean that's a fact.
An alleged accusation. The burden of proof is on who? It's on him. If it so happened that it was the committee, the entire committee, that made that allegation, then the entire committee would have to meet the security services. But let me ask you a question. They use the word suspicious flight. If it's a suspicious flight, who gave that suspicious flight the permit to land? Who? Because it presupposes that people at the airport are in conclusion with those people on that flight to land in Accra. You can see a car driving, and by the way it is driving, you can suspect there's something suspicious about it. Can you do that with an aircraft in the air?
No.
So what does he mean by suspicious flight? Did he know that there were drugs on the flight? Did he talk to people, or his intelligence in the airport tell him that, hey, the flight has come in, it seems there's drugs and money laundering on the flight. So it's suspicious. Mr. MP, do something about it. You're a ranking member on defense. Is that what he should give us more evidence? Yes, I think, and I said earlier, the president was specific and categorical. MP, deal with the security services. And if he has the love of Ghana, he will go. They won't come to him. You're trying to tell me that if I find something untoward going on, I'll wait for the security service to come to me. My nation, Ghana, is much more important than me living in the country. Okay. It has priority over everything. So I will go to the security service. Mr. Security Service, ABCDE is what I've seen. Here is my evidence. Security Service takes that evidence, and what does it do? It now starts to investigate. So let's see if he's still waiting for the Security Service to come to him.
He says he has so far not been invited.
You see, and if this were any political party anywhere in the developed world, the party itself would question the individual. Oh boy, what you're saying, do you have the evidence? Show us the party the evidence. So that it does not do what? It does not paint every one of us. But unfortunately, in Ghana, because we play party politics before country, what will they do? The party would now come behind him and give him the support, although the party itself has not gone to find the evidence he's talking about, which is a shame. We need to gradually get away from that, because we need to build a nation called Ghana for all of us to be able to be truthful, transparent, and responsible.
I mean, Mr. Jato, earlier you made reference to the two other incidents that he spoke about, the bus that the national security undertook. I mean, do you agree that we need some sort of update on those incidents? And the point he makes is that following the seizure, we've not been told whether some individuals have been arrested, have they been arraigned? Are there other individuals outside that network that the state security are looking for, perhaps? I mean, at least it's been silent since government announced that. Do you think that at least we deserve an update on that, or you still think that as a person demanding it, he can still use his parliamentary channels to get that information if he wants?
Whatever the case is, the issues that you talk about, the events you talk about, were made public, weren't it?
Yes, they were.
So far as it's being made public, it's up to the security services to update the public. If it was done not in the view or said in the view of public, then maybe, even if they are still investigating, they should tell us something, that ABCDE things we intercepted is still under investigation, and once it is over, we will do what? You see, you need to build confidence in the people at any given point. That is important. And that confidence building is part of governance. That is what we forget. It is part of governance, because the people need to have trust in the government they put in place. That trust, that transparency, that responsibility is key for government to go forward, because we don't want at the end of President Mohammed's time people still have question marks. You said you do A, you said you do B, you didn't do it, you didn't even come and brief us. It's as if you took the power and that was it. We need to be briefed. On that point, I think he's right.
Okay. I mean, Ebo, satisfied with the committee and the government response so far on this particular issue?
Yeah, I think the Honorable must do the honorable thing. He would have to avail himself to be questioned. I mean, he has to provide evidence, if he has any evidence in respect of all the allegations he's made. But I also believe that some of these things, when it comes to the issue of national security, some informations are kept for obvious reasons. Sometimes when you have not concluded your investigation, you don't just give information out just like that. So let's wait. The fact that when those two issues, I mean, if you look at the cocaine, that was, and then the container issue, I believe that those things were made public. I mean, they announced to the public that this is what we've done, yet we are still continuing with the investigation. And for me, let's wait. Let's not, I mean, it's as if we are in a rush to get information just for getting information's sake. Let's allow them time to do proper investigation and come out with whatever they have to say. But I also want to say that we have a lot of important issues that are troubling us in this country. I don't think this one should be any important issue for us. Somebody can just make allegations. So if you give it this kind of attention, how many more allegations is he going to make that would have to come and sit here and be talking about it? So, because I said, as for allegations, the NDC must be prepared for, they will come out with more allegations, because that is what they did to win 2016 election, and they would want to use the same playbook. That's what I would say on this one.
I mean, Prof, final word on this issue.
Yes, my final word, if you see any white person and talking to the son or the daughter, and the child is lying, what the mom or dad will say is that, son, look at me eyeball to eyeball. And they will say, Mom, I'm sorry, or Dad, I'm sorry. In a part of the world, somebody can look at you eyeball to eyeball and lie from their teeth. I don't know where we learned that from. We are, you know, first-class liars when it comes to some of these things. Michael Jordan said that there's no eye in a team, but sometimes it takes an eye to win a game. So wherever you find yourself as a Ghanaian, you represent our land, our common destiny. And whatever you say should be measured. I don't think that Ntim Fodjo is a supporter of Liverpool, because now he walks alone. So he should come to the Blues, and it's going to help him a lot. We have processes that you have to go through in Parliament. And I don't know why they are all running to social media, because that is not verified. You know, Parliament is a house of records. The Hansard, you have to put everything on record. So they rather prefer social media too, going through the process.
It's a politician, political campaign.
I know, but we should stop that at a point. If you are a member of Parliament and a ranking member, you've been a deputy minister before, you know the channels that you have to go through to make sure that if everything is coming from Parliament and the Speaker endorses that this is a member's concern. You know that this morning, A+ and another person have been released to the NIB, you know, to help with some of the investigations from Parliament. So the speakers, we have laws that we should use those processes and make it work. But it seems we are not using it. I like, my favorite quote in the Bible is Isaiah 18:1. God says, come and let's reason together. And that is one of my leadership mantra as a leadership expert. The president have said that, come, let's reason together. Come, let's work together. Whatever information you have, give it to the security agencies, work with them so that we get to the bottom of it. You have bypassed your committee, you've bypassed Parliament, you've gone to social media to, you know, make a bold claim. Now, once you make a bold claim, you have to substantiate it. And then come and let's talk about it. You say, nobody has invited me. The president himself invited you. So I don't know how, maybe he wants some delegates, some chiefs and some criminals to come and say that, Opening, we are coming to invite you, so Wadaroma. Let's come so that you speak to us before the evidence. When we do politics like this, you know, it doesn't help, because what I'm seeing is that there's a lot of misinformation, but we are not enforcing the misinformation law. That if somebody misinforms, as Pami said, and then cause that fear and panic, because Ghanaians are headline people. It's all about headlines. Last week, I was talking about that I'm not bothered by the Chief Justice asking for the petition copies. Do you know how it was headlined in the news, even from this station, that I support that? So I've seen a lot of media people who write just headlines, because most Ghanaians are headline readers. They read the headlines, they don't go into the details. And we should move away from that, because ignorance will kill us one day. I disguised myself one day, I think last week. Some boys were watching this political debate, and I stood there with a cap on. And when Afenyo Markin was speaking, somebody, an MPP supporter, said, oh, check who I'm nomini madie. And I stopped and I went close to the guy and I said, what are you trying to say? He said, oh, yes, what he's doing, we like it. He's checking them. So you see, people have that kind of posture thinking that what they are doing is the right way of politics. You know, be feisty because they are trying to please the base. But if we have an elections, and always we have 52, 53%, and then another party have now 38, right? Or 41%. 41. It used to be 48 and 52. So for the next 4 years, the 48 will try to put the 52 down. Everything they do, I know I'm fair. But let me ask you, if we are in a house and everything that I say is wrong, you are the person who is always right. Don't you think you're also part of the problem? So we should move from that kind of always defending our political parties, because you have to prove what you say or be charged for it. Thank you.
Well, I think the MPP must be born again from the way things are going. And Reverend Tim should lead that charge. They will have to be born again.
Well, I mean, we wait to see whether he would actually appear before the various security agents that have been asked to investigate this matter and what he can provide to them by way of proof. And let's see how this one turns out.
You know, if this investigation goes on and it's proven there is nothing worth of salt that he said, he should please apologize to Ghanaians. At least Ghanaians will forgive him. And the MPP should make it a point that he apologizes. Because he's what? He spread falsehood.
Earlier I was getting you to suggest that he should be arrested if it turns out to be false.
Well, I'm saying if it turns out to be false, the law should kick in. But the law won't kick in Ghana. That's the challenge.
Why? Then why do we make the law?
Well, that is the question we should ask.
Then don't waste our time as a country. Because we are making laws and not enforcing them.
Apart from that, it's Parliament that makes laws. And if for nothing at all, the Speaker should make sure that the law kicks in. Period. Suspend him. And let the legal, the police take charge.
But Akabli, let me, as an addendum to what Nana Diato said.
Addendum is a big word.
Yeah. You see, it is one thing soiling an individual's reputation, and it's another thing destroying the reputation of a nation. What is done is destroying the reputation of the nation, and it's very serious, because to say the things he said, I mean, it is something that we don't have to, some of these we don't have to countenance as a nation. The fact that you want political power does not mean the very nation that you are seeking to lead, you have to destroy the image of that nation. And for me, that is what makes it a very serious matter. If you are going to accuse an individual for doing something, the individual has the right to take you to court or whatever. But if you decide that you want to now attack your nation, like the way he did, I think it's something that needs to be taken seriously.
I think that we are elevating this Tim far too much. You know why? This is a man who in government told us that some 5.7 million kids had benefited from free FCHS. Shouted it. Shouted on top of his roof. Then we want power. Check the record, it was 3.5.
I mean, to be fair, the former education minister
then he suddenly came out. Then he suddenly came out to say, well, I never said 5.7. I have always stood my grounds and all that. So he's never been somebody that you can trust for his words.
I mean, we'll see how all of this pans out once he meets the investigative committee. But another major subject of discussion, the issue of Galamsey illegal mining, I mean, it's one that will not end anytime soon. And you recall, sometime in 2017, when President Akufo-Addo took office, he did put his presidency on the line. In fact, when his party lost a significant number of seats in the 2020 elections, he blamed it on what he believed was his fight against illegal mining. The party lost the 2024 election completely and also lost its majority, very slim majority in parliament as well, giving the NDC control of parliament and the government as well. But it's still a thorny issue. I mean, the minister has been given an update. He says, well, 100 excavators have been seized so far. They are in the custody of the military. He's described Galamsey as terrorists who will be dealt with. And he says that 7 reserves so far have moved from the red category classification to a yellow classification now, showing that, well, it seems some gain is being made. But the question that many are asking is that, is government heading in the right direction in terms of dealing with this particular matter? And I would want to start this with Mr. Jantua first. Mr. Jantua, on this Galamsey issue, yeah, I mean, he's my main man. He's my main man. It's always his, you know, it's always his reactions that I like. It's always his reactions. I mean, and sometimes I wish that we have a permanent camera on him so that you see how he turns around when I said I'm starting from him. Yeah, but Mr. Jantua, do you get a sense? And I mean, in earlier conversations, you have scored the new administration high marks on various indicators. On Galamsey, do you get a sense that we are any different from where we were in December 2024? We
are still grappling with the situation. And sometimes I feel there is a slight disjoint. Look, the minister is doing his all to fight it. Operative word, to fight it. He indicated terrorism. And some of us have talked about this way back during the MPP regime, that this can lead to people coming in to do what? To fight for gold, and fight for gold to use for other terrorist activities in West Africa. But there is one bit that we are not looking at. And maybe they are looking at it, but it isn't so obvious. What is the alternative sustainability plan? What is it? Because see, even if you take 8 years, let's say Galamsey has intensified in 8 years, the people in the rural areas who are doing it, isn't that all they know? Do they know any other job? Do they know any other work? So as you are fighting them out, and remember, fighting them out means you're using public funds. You're fighting them out, hoping that they won't come back. But that is all they know. They will come back. What kind of work are you putting in place for them? And I would want to see a situation, you fighting them, but there are discussions going on with the communities, with the chiefs, as to what kind of alternative employment can be created for the people in these Galamsey areas. And for me, they are not going to stop Galamsey. The same way we've now got the gold board, we have cocoa board, we should have a situation where, like in agriculture, we are able to turn these illegal mining into legal, profitable businesses through cooperatives, so that it can be guided properly. That kind of discussion is not going on. We are firefighting. We are going, and I've said, shoot to kill. I've said it. Because of the kind of weapons that we're seeing them having. But you've got to give them alternative employment. Number two, the minister has said it, that he's going to expose what? The financiers. That should be the first point of call. The delay has been too long. For me, I felt my good friend Honorable Boa, that would be the first point he will start from. Straight away. Mr. Jantua, we have seen that you are financing a Galamsey pit in Kawie. Come and answer. Start that now. Because those who are digging, doing the mining, do they have money to buy excavators? Do they have money to buy the processing equipment? Do they have money to buy the, what do you call it, the chemicals that we're talking about? They don't. Somebody must be giving them that money. Number three, those chemicals that they use, how does it get there? Should we not have strict monitoring of those chemicals today? Do we have it? So there seems to be some disjoint. And I would want to advise that this Galamsey issue should be linked directly to the presidency, where the president is taking charge with the minister. Because what? Look, I haven't had water in my house for 4 days. What does that tell you? You cannot flush your loo. You cannot have a bath. You cannot eat. You cannot do anything, especially where you have young children and you don't have the chance to have a tank. And even that tank, will it not go empty? Yeah. It goes to show the challenge we are having with Galamsey. And it is a national security threat. So far as I'm concerned, the president should be in. Unfortunately, our past president, who put his presidency on the line, absolutely we didn't see how that presidency was on the line. I would want President Mahama to do it differently. Work together with the minister. Let's see you be part and parcel of it. Yes, you tell me, but he goes to cabinet and he briefs cabinet. No, he briefs cabinet. But I want the president to be in there, fighting with the minister of mines and natural resources, because we have got to make sure this thing ends. If it doesn't end, it will bring about the end of a country called Ghana. And others around the country, around the sub-region, have seen a source for money. They'll come in. Aren't foreigners doing this thing?
Yeah.
Plenty.
Yeah.
I would say there are more foreigners funding this thing than even Ghanaians. But most importantly, the politicians who are in there doing it, let's expose them. What are we scared of? Okay. What are we scared of?
I mean, I get Mr. Jan to make the points that, well, it's like we are still doing the same thing we did in the past, as against a clear, coordinated plan where we know how we are flashing them out, we know alternative livelihood that we are providing for them, and what the end game is. Do you share that sentiment as well?
Yeah. Let me say this. Let me begin on this particular topic with this statement to the president, that the president, prior to the 2024 election, promised to repeat the LI 2462, right? And now I'm hearing they want to amend it instead of repealing it. Mr. President, whatever promise you made to Ghanaians, fulfill that promise. Repeal that LI. It's not going to help us. Amending it is not going to help us. And you see, and I've also said this, that the president has the finest opportunity to govern this country to become the second best after Dr. Kwame Nkrumah or second worst after Nana Addo. The choice is his. If he decides to fight Galamsey ruthlessly, if he decides to fight corruption in the same manner, if he decides to work hard to fix its economy, I think he will be remembered as the president who made great difference in the lives of Ghanaians. On the issue of Galamsey, our position as a movement for change was very clear. Alan put out 10-point agenda, 10-point plan to tackle Galamsey. And our first point, we didn't mince words at all. We said the first thing we need to do is to ban Galamsey 1 year, or small-scale mining 1 year. That's what we said. Because there seems to be chaos in that sector. Now, people are hiding behind licenses to do Galamsey. So the point is that why don't you restore some calmness, as I've always said, peace be still situation, so that within that 1 year, we can now look at how we can restore our forests, we can restore our water bodies, because once your water body is affected, your soil is affected, the air you breathe is affected, and you are on a suicide mission. And that is
the end of Ghana.
Yes, because so when fighting Galamsey, you don't have to be, handling it with kid gloves. Like for political purposes, let's be lenient to people who are not being lenient to us, because all the care is the money they are getting, not what the end game, whatever they are doing, the consequences of the actions on us. They don't care about that. All they care is that, this month I'm going to make this money from Galamsey, and that is all that they are doing. I have traveled to Western North and Western region during the campaign. I did most of my campaign there, and I can tell you, it's scary. The situation there is scary. And the question I ask myself, those excavators, how did they get to the forest? Did they fly? Did they have wings? Even though we've had a situation where excavators were missing just like that. We are told how many hundred excavators have been seized, and they are with the military. Please let us know whether indeed 100, and they are still there, because, as I said, we've had bad history in respect of that. But as I was making a point on our 10-point agenda, one of the things we said, apart from banning it, and but we also said that, you see, people were born, they grew up in mining areas, mining communities. All that they want to do is mining. Somebody was born along the coastal area. The person whenever the person wakes up, all that the person is thinking about is fishing. Somebody was born elsewhere, so the person wants to go to become a great farmer. People want to do mining. The question is that how do you direct them so that they mine responsibly and sustainably? That is why in our 10-point plan, we said these young men, we can use them for reforestation. Then we can group them into companies, small-scale mining companies. Because if the Chinese can come to our country to benefit from our good, why wouldn't we allow our own kids to do that in the right way? Okay. So we are saying that we group them and form companies for them, provide them with the equipment that they will need, and let them do work and pay. And you give them concessions that are not close to water bodies, that will not lead to destruction of our forest, and let them mine responsibly and sustainably. So I'm saying we can't just sack them and think that they will never come back. If we sack them, we need to find alternative means of livelihood for them. And don't try to force somebody who really wants to do mining to become a farmer.
Okay.
Direct him, help him to become a responsible miner. And that is what I think we need to be looking at, instead of just throwing them out of the forest.
Just quickly add, Prof. You know there are places in the western region that has more gold than Obuasi. It goes to show you it's not going to stop. So we've got to do it. And you see, the most interesting thing that it will bring money into the coffers of our country. We won't have to go to IMF for $3 billion.
Okay.
I mean, Prof.
Ask yourself that why that our light-skinned brothers in their world don't touch any water bodies. They don't touch any animal, and they don't touch any tree. Because these are lives. If you pass through any European country or any North American country, you will see the river that passes through the towns. I mean, navy blue, so colorless, so nice, you can see the bottom of it. But when I was driving today, I passed through Ashimota. There is that river there that crosses. You can see the filth, the polythene bags, the bottles, used bottles, and the dirt in the rivers that passes through our towns. Do you know that even River Densu, that passes through Eastern region all the way to Greater Accra, that Ghana Water Company uses to give us water, it is treated 4 times because of the pollution out there. Now, my father passed a year ago, and before he passed, he was having a chat with me, and he asked me, Kwame, let me ask you a question. What is gold used for? And I talk about, well, we use it for necklaces, rings, and I say, so is that important than water? And why will people choose gold instead of water? Now, let me educate our listeners that you can live without water for just 3 days.
3 days.
3 days.
Even that.
Even that, there are many factors. It depends on your age, because we have a lot of heat here. Your age, your activity level, your overall health, your body factors, your height, and then your weight, and then your sex, whether male or female. 3 days. So if you go for all the gold, get all the gold chains and brag about it, like some former party chairman was bragging about the price of his gold on his neck.
Which party chairman?
Well, I'm not going to mention it.
Oh, no, but you mentioned so which party chairman?
Prof, focus on the Galamsey.
There are quite a lot of parties around this table.
That we brag about.
Is it my party or is it his party?
We brag for change. Yes, we brag about the expensiveness of the gold chains and the gold rings and that we have. And if you don't have water and you die, then what is it? But I remember what Muhammad Ali said, that, you know, we live life once, but if you live it well, it is worth doing it. If you look at what is going on, we need a job, an alternative job. I agree with Kwame, alternative job for this youth, because I've been saying this at every platform that I find myself, that this youth, if you don't give them something to live for, somebody else somewhere will give them something to die for. Why? Because if you look at what happened at River Ofen, that I say Restwell, Constable Kwabena Dugbe, who drowned at the Ofen River. The boys were armed. We are talking about armed miners. Now, when the police tried to swoop in, they swam to the other side of the Ofen River, and he lost his foot because they were trying to chase them, and we lost his life just after 4 hours.
this shouldn't happen. But I want to say something. You know, in 3 days' time, NDC will be 4 months in power, from January 7th to April 7th, 4 months in power. And we had 9 reserve forests that have been taken over by these guys, Galamseyers. Do you know that out of the 9, 7 within 4 months? Even the ministers were appointed before they went through the vetting process, a whole month has gone. Within 3 months, they've been able to reclaim 7 out of the 9 forest reserve, which is about 78% of work done. That is a good job. I know a former president who put his presidency on the line for Galamsey.
Oh, he has a name now.
It didn't work.
That's a name.
I mean, you are helping
former president.
I'm also Kwame like you.
No, there have been former presidents. Which one?
I'm a very diplomatic
No,
person.
it's not diplomacy. Galamsey is not diplomacy.
Why you've gotten to know
It's not
diplomacy?
diplomacy.
So what I'm saying is that
President Akufo-Addo put his line on the line.
The current effort, momentum is on our side. Let's do everything that we can to solve it, because these guys will play and seek with the government to see what they can do. But the way we are moving now for the first 3 months, I think that we are on the right direction. Every Ghanaian should strengthen the hands of this administration so that we fight Galamsey. Else, look at the price of the bottle of water today, over 30 Ghana cedis. That means there will be a time we'll have to import water to drink.
I mean, the point that... No, you have time on it. We'll give you time to deal with this. And no, you hold on. I have a question for you. Hold on. I mean, the concern that is being raised is that your party participated in what many believe politicizing the fight against illegal mining. But they are making the point that now you are in power and more or less there is a bit of a reality check. And so it doesn't appear that there is a clear plan to deal with it. And I'm going to give you one example. Within a short period, we saw water guards being deployed. And we see the armed men who are mining illegally. And people are asking that this cannot be the solution.
Well, so you want me to respond?
Yes, of course.
If the NPP had done just one...
No, let's leave the NPP out. Let's leave the NPP out.
If you say people, who are the people? Because...
I mean, if you go on X, for instance, people on social media, they are saying that, in fact, they have made reference to statements made by NDC, some are even ministers now, about how Galamsey could be ended within a short period, among other things. I mean,
yeah. You know, the difficulty with Galamsey is that many people think that, oh, it's just a one-off event. You know, once you get to the forest, that's the end. See, I am a trained development analyst, and I understand what development in that context means. In fact, Ghana by itself prided itself in how much royalty we get from gold and how much it has contributed to our GDP and all that. So by our own posture, without even communicating, you are saying that you make so much money from such a sector. And it's been like that since independence. We've always depended on the proceeds from gold. Now, what we did not do was to have what we call alternative livelihood, support programs in those areas. And I've been taking a look at the Act 912, which is the Minerals Development Fund Act. Section 7, paragraph E. And I'll try to read, very bits and pieces of it. Paragraph E. A says that 50% of the monies shall be allocated to the Office of the Administrator of Stolen Lands and disbursed as prescribed by law. Now, Minerals Development Fund they get the royalties from the gold proceeds in the sector. B, it says that 20% of the monies shall be allocated to the Mining Community Development Scheme. C, it says that 4% of the monies shall be allocated to supplement the mining operations of the ministry. D, 13% of the monies shall be allocated to supplement the mining operations of the Minerals Commission. E, it says 8% of monies shall be allocated to supplement the mining operations of the Geological Survey Department. And then F, it says 5% of the monies shall be allocated for research, training, and projects aimed at the promotion of sustainable development through mining of which at least 40% shall be allocated to the Ghana Geological Survey. So you don't see a proper scheme that allows for what you call alternative livelihoods. Of course, there are indications that some of those money were supposed to go to community development or local development and all that. But you see, we need to be conscious about this. Some time ago, I used to be consulting for National Board for small scale industry, now GEA. And I remember very well when the Libya thing happened and those guys who returned refugees and all that, we used to run a program for them, and the program was aimed at alternative livelihoods. So we trained them in other artisanal businesses in order to support themselves in the absence of traveling abroad through stowaway and all that stuff. I think that we need that consciousness to be able to shift people from that. You know, beyond the experts who are fueling or sponsoring some of these illegal activities, it's also the need that our young people need jobs. And then they need jobs, but we have to find other alternatives, because otherwise that's the only thing they have. It's like ending in this country. You build 10,000 houses for them, you haven't ended it. You need to create livelihoods that support them. But I didn't have a call to make, and I needed to understand that the NDC is one of the parties that have made very concrete steps in resolving this Galamsey menace. And one of the things we want to do is the reclamation of the land. We're also wanting to, the minister has just indicated that it's liaising with the Attorney General's Department so we can create a dedicated court system that can be able to adjudicate in such matters of criminality on our environment. The water gas that you mentioned, this is a development that is to ensure that our water bodies are preserved. How better can it be that we have a dedicated team today supported by the military and other security agencies that are supporting in having our water bodies being preserved? Number 3, we are also going for afforestation program. So people are asking, what does the NDC intend to do? These are the things I'm telling you. Livelihood support, afforestation program, the water gas program, the dedicated courts. Then we're also looking at livelihood support properly, so-called. And I know that the Minerals Commission, the Minerals Development Fund, have already started some projects in that regard, where we can give other alternatives of livelihood to them, so that they don't go back in the name of looking for food or looking for, you know, daily bread, slip into some of those operations. Then also we want to go after the foreigners who are also funding some of these things. You know, Galamsey is virtually a terrorism, you know, approach to an onslaught on a country, because they don't seem to understand anything. Okay. I saw a video of somebody who was holding a gun and saying, we have prepared ourselves, we are ready for them and all that. We need to find a way of resolving some of these issues. Again, the past government said they had procured some drones worth $3 million. So today, I haven't seen one of those drones. I mean, the MPP government. I want the minister to investigate this matter. Let's see where are the drones, because we will need it. Even as ordinary citizens, if the community as it is can rely on the local, you know, support, some of these drones can be flown by assemblymen to know what is happening just some 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters in the forest. At least for vigilance sake, we need that.
That's so they are not part of what is going on themselves.
Well, you can say that, but they are still well-meaning Ghanaians in those environments that seem to give the tip-offs. The likes of Erastus Asaridonko and all this, those are Ghanaians who are in the space. The likes of this man, what's his name? The pay as you earn man, what's his name? I've forgotten the name. All these people are people who are watching. Civil society is watching. Political parties are watching. Individuals are watching. And I think that we cannot disappoint Ghanaians on this
What
call.
kind of protocols are in place to stop the soldiers and these unit people from being bribed? Because we saw soldiers go in there and they got themselves involved in Galamsey. What kind of protocols? Yes, what kind of protocols?
One of the things that is that they are not permanent. That's why it's not.
In fact, yesterday I heard the minister in the Ashanti region, actually, the Minister for Interior, saying that they should transfer the commanders regularly in the mining areas just to ensure that they don't get comfortable.
So they go there and get corrupted.
I mean, unfortunately, so let's see how all of that will turn out. And that is it by way of our discussion this morning on the big issue. My guests have been Wanda Madilo. He's a development analyst also with the NDC communication team. Kwame Jantua, a lover of good music. Ras Jantua, like I want to call him this morning. He's a legal practitioner, energy analyst, a member of the CPP. Next to him is a big Basa fan, Ibu Bakman. Financial economic analyst, also senior communicator with the Movement for Change, and Prof. As for Prof, he's a Prof. I don't have to add anything else. You'll be listening to him. Professor Upoku Entry is a governance and policy analyst. Stay tuned in, the show continues.